This is Jin Kuwana, birth name Yu Kitakata, once a high school teacher until one of his students attempted sewer slide by jumping off the roof of his high school. Kitakata was then forced out of teaching and now works as a handyman in Isazaki Jincho. By handyman I mean that he's a man who's willing to get his hands dirty to solve a problem, even when no one else will. This is Yu Kitakata, and he did nothing wrong. But to truly understand him, you need to understand the social contract, the unspoken promise that society will protect its people, or, simply put,
you know, we're living in a society. We're supposed to act in a civilized way.
When that contract breaks, some will try to fix it. Others will give their lives just to burn it down. Some of you have probably already started your comments, and I'm gonna let you finish, but first, let's get our facts straight by going through some major events in Lost Judgment. Kuwana didn't just target bullies, he hunted torturers. I'm gonna play as much as I can of this original blackmail that Kuwana used on his former students, but YouTube might decide that even this is too much for the platform.
Holy shit! So did I. Come on, Mitsuru. Quit being a little bitch. I told you to take it in the face. Alright, let's do it over again, okay? Suzuki, make sure you're getting this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna really fucking nail him this time.
Smile. Ready when you are.
Hey, get your ass back. Mitsuru, what did I just say about being a bitch? You asked for it. I'm gonna have to punish ya. Punishment! Punishment! Let's hear the punishment song, everybody! Punishment! Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for Mitsuru-kun Strip Show! Stop! You little shit, did you just kick me? Huh? Too late to get tough now, Mitsuru. Show us what you got.
Don't struggle now. We want to see. We gotta get this all on camera. Aw, isn't this just the most pathetic sight?
Oh shit, he's pissing himself.
Ew, that's so nasty.
Disgusting. Oh, look at this shit. Get out of here.
Even now, this is painful to watch. They laugh when Mitsuru pisses himself, but this could be from the damage he's received from being kicked in the chest and beaten relentlessly. Mitsuru didn't have to jump off the roof to end up in a coma. It could have happened right here. Of course, this wasn't the case, and Mitsuru went on to do what he did, and the people in the video went on to lead cushy little lives, unburdened by the hurt they so willingly inflicted. Except no, here comes Kuwana to restore the social contract these guys willingly neglected their part in. John Locke, a philosopher whose writings serve as part of the foundation for how we view society today, said that governments exist to protect our rights to life, dignity, and safety. When government fails to protect the people have a right to rebel, whether that be against the government who failed to protect them or the entities seeking to cause them harm. Yagami is also one of these contract restorers. He chooses to remain unaffiliated with the government, instead choosing to abandon his duty to the legal system unless it's convenient. He works loosely within the bounds of the law to bring justice to those who would otherwise hold it in contempt. He acts imperfectly and independently to do what the government is incapable of doing, similar to a bounty hunter or a cowboy. But unlike the Wild West, Yagami doesn't give himself the option of dead or alive. Instead, he refuses to admit that there is an option, if for no other reason than he still has faith that the status quo can be restored. Kuwana, on the other hand, declares the system dead. No trials, no loopholes, just truth and justice, a righteous retribution free from the shackles of vengeance. Locke called this the right of revolution. When the contract breaks, it must be restored, by any means necessary. It might be more controversial to say that Kuwana's murders lacked vengeance more than he did nothing wrong, but I stand by it. Ahara took his vengeance through murder and the subsequent chaos he caused with the courts. With Kuwana's help, of course. The murders he enables and commits are the vengeance that he claims for others. The students that were tormented to the brink, and the parents that suffer their losses without legal recourse to turn to. Kuwana's actions are his atonement, providing retribution for those who need it, for those who deserve it. Kuwana took his vengeance long ago in the form of blackmail. His revenge was aimed at the students who broke Mitsuru, and he finds his revenge by forcing them to take responsibility for their actions. Though they became horrified by the increasingly violent actions they were forced to take, they believed that they would be safe as long as they followed Kuwana's rules, until Yagami showed up. At this point, Mitsuru's torturers were made pawns indefinitely until they accepted their role in the social contract and took punishment for their crimes. Even if they could not be held responsible legally, their lives would be upended by the reveal of their torture.
He's giving you orders?
That man, he forces us to help him. He makes us accomplices to murder.
Murder? What the hell? Murder who, exactly?
Any bullies involved in suicides. That's who Sensei's got it in for. Anyone he can find across the country. He doesn't even care how old the case is. If a student commits suicide, and bullying is suspected as the cause, he'll turn up. As far as I know, counting Kawai, I think he's killed at least 7 people.
7? How's he doing this? So his idea of justice is killing bullies? Across the entire country?
He said that's the only way we can atone. Anyone who drives someone to suicide must always face justice. Until society comes to terms with this, he says we'll keep getting our hands dirty. That way, we might be able to save the next few Mitsurus before it's too late for them.
Not sure I should say this out loud, but I'm kind of rooting for this guy now.
Yeah, let's not.
Kuwana knows this and uses it to blackmail them into restoring the social contract for himself. Yagami knows this and uses it to blackmail them into helping him find Kuwana. I'm kidding. He uses it to blackmail them into helping him find Kuwana. Okay, let's take a second. What does it really do for anyone for Yagami to continue withholding the information he's gathered up until this point from the authorities? Even if he is intent on hiding his progress and uncovering evidence for Ahara's true crime, this has little to do with it, and this is well before he understands how deep the rot in the system goes. In fact, keeping this information hidden, especially after he's done with Uemamiya, doesn't benefit anyone really. This is even more relevant when considering the last encounter between Yagami and Kuwana. Yagami has Kuwana dead to rights, caught red-handed with the body of Kawai that he's been hiding, yet Yagami is perfectly willing to let him walk. Of course, in this situation, it's because he's realized that the system that he places so much faith in would have his head and pin the death of Sawa-sensei on Kuwana. He admits that it would be a miscarriage of justice, as Kuwana did not kill Sawa-sensei himself, despite him asserting that it is Kuwana's fault that she died. In reality, it was Soma who actually killed Sawa-sensei. The only one of these men actually working within the system as it stands. So let me ask you, is this not proof that Yagami's approach to justice is untenable? That a system with such a rot at its core is near impossible to fix? When a tree, even one that's hundreds of years old and on the outside looks strong and sturdy, is dead inside, the solution is not to try and prop up the tree. The solution is to tear it down. Otherwise, the consequences could be dire. I would know this is my mom's house right now. No worries though, she's fine. Another aspect of John Locke's social contract is letting the people judge. Had Yagami done this, would it have hindered his investigation in any way at this point? Potentially, especially after finding out that Soma is in fact part of public security, or public safety, whatever they call it. But he doesn't know. So why not send this over to the guys at the Takata channel and let them expose these people, put them on public trial, while the work to uncover who's behind RK is continued in the background. What Kuwana's minions truly fear is the social contract. The legal system is part of this, but the social aspect is the most terrifying. Even if they serve their time from the beginning, upon release they would still be marked for life. Now the public would ostracize them from society even more.
You heard that, right? The detective here already knows everything.
Kuwana!
What are you going to do now? What do you think happens when he spills everything? Sounds like your lives are over, unless you shut him up.
But Sensei, you'll finish the job for us, right?
Huh? Is that you, Akahike?
Oh, he's even got a name to your voice.
Answer me, Sensei!
I know. I'll be the one to finish it. You just knock him out.
This is what Kuwana and Ihara tap into by releasing the murder footage publicly. Let the people decide. Should the grieving father of a boy whose lust for life was taken away from him by monsters be punished for slaying the very monster that took so much from him? Kuwana doesn't just kill. He enables victims to take justice into their own hands and then let the people decide, free from a court already condemned to corruption. This is why the game needs a real villain like Soma in the mix. If our biggest villain was Kuwana, I think any message the game has would end up falling flat, because while the parallels between Yagami and Kuwana are undeniable, neither of them would ever go to the lengths of someone like Soma. Unfortunately for Yagami, this means that our true villain is the system itself. I also think this is why Yagami is insistent on blaming Kuwana-san for Sawa-sensei's death, even though Kuwana is horrified by it, just as much as Yagami is.
All it does is crush us.
That's not true. It's because the truth was being hidden. That's what led to Sawa-sensei's death, isn't it? Set Kusamoto free. It's time for all this to end. I mean, you've gotta already know. When justice breaks, someone's always gonna find a way to redefine it to suit themselves. And from that point of view, everything you do feels justified. That's why you're able to look past the sacrifice and the damage you cause.
No. I didn't want this.
I get that. But who decides what's wrong? Who gets to decide what's right? That's not us. Come on. Sawa-sensei died because you made the choice for her, and you took her truth. Who does that really serve? Tell me who. Why would you want that? The truth is all we have. When the law can't be fair, the truth becomes our last ray of hope. So please, Sawa-sensei's truth, don't take that from her.
The two blame each other for her death, although you could say Reiko Kusamoto is truly to blame for unleashing the beast more than anyone. For Yagami, Kuwana must be a villain, and while the murders Kuwana has already taken responsibility for should be enough to motivate his capture, I think that deep down, Yagami knows that on some level Kuwana is right. Ehara is right. But Ehara acted out of vengeance and directly made a mockery of Saori-san and the Gendo Law Office. Plus, he's on camera committing murder in 4K 120 frames per second.
Is that Kuwana?
Kusumoto-san, is Yagami there? Put me on speaker, please.
Go ahead.
So, it seems Ehara-san's trial was a big success. He took our failing legal system and turned it on its head. Couldn't have done it without you.
I don't know what you're thinking, but public security has to be tracing this call. You have a plan?
Nope, not this time. That's why I'm using my own phone. And that's just the way I want it. Can't run forever, you know.
The hell are you saying? They catch you, you're a dead man.
That's exactly why I'm negotiating to prevent that. Kusumoto-san.
Yes.
I'll be upfront with you. I never imagined the day would come that you would be the one to betray me. But if I had to guess, Mitsuru-kun must have woke up. If that's the case, then Kawai's murder, your whole past, you're not the only one it stands to ruin. If all that comes into the light, Mitsuru-kun will be labeled the son of a murderer.
Exactly. I can't let that... That's the one thing I need to prevent.
I know. That's good. That's exactly what you should be doing. So please, don't stop now on my behalf. Enough is enough. You and your son have been through enough hell. I want to protect Mitsuru-kun too. Almost as much as his mother.
Where is Kawai's body? Tell me.
I can only assume this call is being traced, so even as we speak, I'm standing somewhere very close to it.
You gave us the location. I'm going to dispatch Soma.
Kuwana! Where are you?
I'm in Jincho. If I take even one step out of this city, I'd be powerless. I've got nowhere else left to go.
Kuwana! After they find Kawai's body and Kuwana is taken care of, I'm next on the list. Bando can act at his own discretion. If he wants me gone, he'll be able to silence anyone who could know too much. Sawa-sensei was just the first victim. You yourself have sealed this fate, you know. Will you tell him? Will you tell Mitsuru-kun about Sawa-sensei?
Surely you know it wasn't my fault. Sawa-san's death was a tragedy. I never imagined that would happen.
What about Kuwana? Can you imagine how his death is gonna play out in a few hours? I can, but I'm not gonna let him go down without a fight. Which means, I'm going to Jincho.
I can talk some sense into Bando. I won't allow him to kill indiscriminately. So please, don't go out there to risk your life.
That's how it works. No promises.
Kuwana is even-handed and doles out justice to those who deserve it, unflinchingly. So for Yagami to justify his hunt, Kuwana has to be held responsible for the collateral damage that he caused, though one might say Yagami is just as responsible. It's likely that had Yagami left Jincho like Sawa-sensei and Kuwana insisted, she still might be alive. Sure, a mystery might go unsolved, but that's just another day in Kamurocho. Why should Jincho be any different? Yagami believes even broken systems can heal. Prolonging the investigation risks Sawa's life, but he trusted the law to save her. But again, even Yagami admits Kuwana isn't responsible for Sawa-sensei's death when he finally confronts the head of public safety, Bando.
Bando-san, was it? From public security?
I don't recall saying my department. But yeah, that's right.
Do you know Reiko Kusamoto, the vice minister at the Ministry of Health?
Of course.
Any particular reason she's under constant surveillance?
A rather bold question, isn't it?
It's just you and me here.
I see you know how to cut to the chase, Yagami-sensei.
Ihara's trial can't be that important to you. So I have to figure I'm the reason you showed up. You want to know where Kuwana is, don't you? Were you finally forced to get off your ass because nobody else can get eyes on him?
Kuwana, otherwise known as Yu Kitakata, is wanted on suspicion of murder. If you know where he is, please do tell.
Wanted for murder? Huh. Because you know, I thought it was RK acting on your orders that killed Sawa-sensei.
Oh my god! He admitted it!
It's here that Yagami begins to accept the truth that Kuwana knew all along. The system wouldn't save anyone. The system itself is corrupt. The system is the villain, represented by Soma and, to a lesser extent, Bando. Worse than public safety using the underground to do their dirty work, public safety embeds their members into the underworld to make sure their dirty work gets done. At this point in the story, it's clear that the justice system and the system at large is broken, a recurring theme in the Judgment series. Yagami spends his time seeking to expose the truth and shame the powerful. He believes that if the truth is exposed by the courts, the system, society, whoever will have to listen, exposing it to everyone so that there can be no cover-up. In the game, this is an honorable mission that by the end makes you feel successful. But were you? Sure, Ihara was proven to be innocent of the groping crime, and we can assume that this will lead to his conviction for the murder of Mikoshiba. But what about Bando? What happens to Soma? It's implied that Rei will turn herself in and submit herself to justice, but her absence will directly benefit the system's corruption, as she is the last line of defense between it and the pension fund of the entirety of Japan.
You must really be something special. You were never in this job for yourself. It fell into your lap as your predecessors fell like dominoes. That's why you don't owe anyone anything. You're free of constraints. And Mitsuru-kun's tragedy even gained you public sympathy on top of it. Combine all that with a capable bureaucrat like you, there's no telling what you could accomplish. You're cleaning up house, tackling the revolving door problems. Things you know are the right moves, but with no regard for the consequences. I understand even the cabinet gauges your opinion, since you have so much public support. But I think that's also made you some enemies. Most likely whoever's holding public security's leash.
I have more than a few enemies. I'm well aware of that. And I have no doubt public security would comply with them. To be quite frank, public security only exists to maintain the status quo. The establishment is made up of various powers which control politics and finance. But naturally, each branch has its own agendas, goals, ideas of justice, which leads to all sorts of issues and hindrances, which you call constraints. The more individuals who make up society, the more unavoidable that is.
Are you implying it's public security's job to loosen those constraints?
There's more to it than that. The world we live in requires all kinds of value systems to coexist, even in chaos. But if you loosen the constraints too far, the fall of the state is inevitable. In that regard, public security's role is to stabilize and maintain the state even while bound by constraints. In other words, the constraints of these powers are precisely what are protected by public security. So the fact that I am not caught up in all that does, indeed, make me something of a pesky foreign object.
pesky foreign object. I see. So to these establishment people, you're something to be excised.
I guess there's bullying among adults in high places too.
Yeah. Now we know why they were looking for any kind of weakness in you. And that's when they turned the spotlight on Shinya Kawai's disappearance. Has anybody from public security contacted you? Have you been approached by any strangers?
I have my suspicions.
What are their names? I imagine what they wanted was to exploit your weakness to control you. Because if all they wanted was to eliminate you, some kind of accident would be easily arranged.
Yes. I suppose you're right.
Do you have any idea what these people are after? And do you mind sharing?
What they want is control of the pension fund, which is under the Health Ministry's jurisdiction.
Pension fund?
An independent agency within the ministry manages the National Pension Fund. It's taxpayer funded, and it's worth 160 trillion yen.
What?
And certain groups want to take bigger risks with that money in order to generate more profit. In other words, they want the health ministry to use taxpayer money to gamble. They believe that's the only way to rebuild Japan's faltering economy and secure the future of this country.
I mean, would it work?
Of course, if the gamble actually pays off. But if we lost the gamble, then we wouldn't be able to guarantee anything for the citizens of this country in their golden years. That's why the health ministry manages those funds conservatively, even if it means the returns are lower.
Okay. I'm starting to understand now.
You do? Don't leave me in the dust, Yagami-san.
To be able to gamble all this taxpayer money to save the economy, they need a change of management. And here's Kusamoto-san, head of the office, and she's beyond the control of even the ministers. Her position has the power to take action, to override the way the pension fund is managed. But not only does Kusamoto-san have the power, she has the support of the people. If a new vice minister were to try it, they'd be stopped cold by the constraints.
So that's why they wanted to find her weakness and exploit it?
Exactly. And if the 160 trillion yen gamble were to fail, they could blame the whole thing on Kusamoto-san anyway.
Okay. Wow. 160 trillion.
I'm guessing they've already contacted you about it?
That's an assumption.
If making a sacrifice for the greater good is allowable in Kuwana's case, would the good not suffer more from Reiko Kusamoto going to prison for a crime that, if not just, was at least understandable? Maybe it really would be better to burn the whole thing down. You give the bastards an inch and they'll take a mile, so don't even give them a millimeter. Yagami and Kuwana are ultimately two sides of a broken contract. One aims to polish the pieces, the other intends on grinding them to dust. Yagami's reforms are like putting band-aids on necrosis. Kuwana's revolution breeds chaos but promises retribution. Their conflict underscores Locke's warning. When institutions fail, the line between hero and villain blurs, and justice becomes a shadow game. Yagami struggles to force the law to pay attention to what it misses, to the victims left behind by its indifference or inability to find the truth. Kuwana has no interest in dealing with a broken system. Similar to a different Yagami we all know, Kuwana aims to rebuild the system under a grander vision, or at least stir the system to rebuild itself, lest the people decide to take it back. At best, Kitakata is a messianic figure, sworn to save society from itself and free it from a justice system that is inept. I mean, how different is a handyman from a carpenter, really? At worst, he's a scorned vigilante stalking the streets, a predator of predators. But then again, does this make him any worse than a Dexter Morgan?
The way I see this, Tak, you and Kuwana both have your reasons. Something to consider. But between the both of you, Is there really a right answer?
He's never killed a civilian as far as we know. And if he should be found at fault for the death of Sawa-sensei, so should Yagami. So in the end, was Kuwana actually wrong? If so, was Yagami wrong to let him escape? Let me know what you think in the comments. You guys know I'm down there replying to them, going back and forth. While you're down there, let me know if there are any other characters you'd like to see a video about. If you like this video, tell YouTube and share this video with your friends. If you liked me, then subscribe to the channel, as it's really the only way I can determine my self-worth. Not really, but it will motivate me to create more and even better content for you guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.